Hi, it's me, Stephanie Michelle. Today I'm just reliving some of my childhood memories here in Utah. Shalom, peace. So this is a really rather nice view of the Rocky Mountains, the Wasatch Front, which was my daily sight as a young child, a little girl growing up in Ogden, Utah. Today is a really warm but rather pretty day outside. Just look at the sky, the clouds, the blue sky, and again the beautiful mountains. So behind me is the house of my earliest childhood memories. We used to call it the church house because of the fancy building on the other side of the street, cross-cornered, which we thought was the church, but I think the church is actually on this side of the street, a little bit further down. So this was the house most familiar to me as a little child here in Utah. We called it the Hill House because it was on this hill. Lots of good memories here. So up there is where I used to live. And my brother and I, my little cousins, used to dangerously ride my little Batmobile across that street. Down this little back street is where I first learned to ride a bicycle as a little girl, with the help of my dad. So one time as a little child, walking up and down the sidewalk, I found a lucky $100 bill and gave it to my mom. So across the street here in this empty lot used to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken where my family used to eat quite a lot. Behind me here, this building used to be an Arctic Circle, which is where we usually ate dinner if it wasn't at home. And this building behind me here used to be the grocery store where we used to buy our groceries as well as play video games in the foyer. This was the local LDS church. I was not Mormon, but my two friends, Gavin and Karen, were Mormon, so they used to invite me to a lot of like holiday stuff like Halloween. And also we used to play Battle of the Planets here. I wanted to be princess just like Karen, but since she was the normal girl and I was just the trans girl, I had to be Kiap. So I think it was in this little section of the LDS church building, this ward, where my friends Gavin and Karen used to drag me to primary school before school started, where I wasn't very good at our hangman things because I didn't know the Bible, I didn't know the Book of Mormon. So down this little walkway, the staircase was where I used to walk to school in kindergarten and first grade into second grade. Down this road here was the last part of my daily walk to school during the weekday. So anyways, I'm gonna head down the street here to visit the location of my elementary school when I was a little girl. I think it's a different building now. I don't think it's the same one. To be honest, there are a lot of good memories here, but also a lot of really bad memories. Like I said, I had fun playing Battle of the Planets with Gavin and Karen, but I was also often the third person left out, so I usually felt very lonely. These two kids, Brett and Bud, were also often bullies to me, although Brett was sometimes a little bit more friendly. I think he had a crush on me, but Bud was really mean. He used to shove me and push me and kick me and give me a headache. And I felt so different as a little trans girl that I sometimes just wanted to get hit by a car walking down the street after school, just wanting to be a normal girl, knowing that I wasn't, and thinking maybe if I just died and got hit by a car, then my misery would end. And I think it was here on the street where once I did that, I laid down in the middle of the road for a car to run me over. But instead, the lady stopped and asked if I was okay, which I said that I was. I just lied and said I fell and walked home. So behind me here is the location of the elementary school where I used to go to school when I was a little girl in kindergarten. I think it was called T.O. Smith. It might still be called T.O. Smith Elementary, I'm not sure. So anyways, lots of good memories here, but also lots of very lonely memories as well. The popular girl, Nicole, this little blonde-haired girl who I admired and wanted to be like, she pretended to befriend me just to have her other girlfriends just tease me and make fun of me. There was a big soccer field out back, I'm not sure if it's still there, with this big winding staircase at the bottom leading to the other side of town. And it was there that one day that bully Bud threw me down on the ground, kicked me, punched me, and just gave me a really bad headache. It was honestly one of the worst memories of my life as a child. Although later Brett, his friend, seemed to feel sorry for me. Like I said, I think he had a crush on me. He invited me to his birthday party where we went to the roller rink and had a party at his house, where he was really friendly to me, tried to get me to roller skate with him, but where Bud and some of his other friends were still rather cold towards me, although Brett told them not to be mean to me, as did his mom. However, Brett's mom knew that I was different, knew that I was rather effeminate as a trans girl, and was a little concerned that her son, Brett, seemed to have a crush on me, so she tried to get me to play with his sister and her friends instead of the boys. Probably to try and keep Brett from flirting with me. So behind me is literally a Baskin Robbins that has been here since I was a little girl, probably like 8 years old in like 1970 something. But since it's so hot outside today, I think I'm gonna stop and get a ice cream like I did when I was a little girl, walking here with my mom and my brother and my dad. So just like I did as a little kid, after I paid for my ice cream, I dropped it on the floor and had to get a new one. Luckily, they didn't make me pay for a second one. So I'm going to eat my ice cream just like I did when I was a little girl. Nice and refreshing. I got peanut butter cup, which I'm not sure they had when I was a little girl. There's still the same cute little path over to the Baskin Robbins. I remember coming here as a little girl with my mom and my brother, sometimes with my dad, but also with my mom's friend and with my cousins and my aunt who lived with us. I also got a sugar cone because it tastes better. It's my favorite. Although as a kid, as a little girl, I like the regular ones. But as I've gotten older, now I like the sugar cones like my mom used to like when I was a little girl. So here I am at the campus of Weber State University, It was simply Weber State College when I was a little girl. I spent a lot of time here growing up with my brother and my mom because my mom went to school here with her friend. My mom was studying childhood education at that time. So the truth is, the campus hasn't much changed since when I was a little girl. I can remember often walking up and down this part of the campus, as well as up and down the stairs there. I remember some of my mom's and my dad's friends riding their skateboards up and down this little pathway here. This, of course, was the administration building where we spent a lot of time, unfortunately, because I think my mom had to work out a lot of stuff. I remember being really bored a lot of times in this building, although they did have really cold water in their water fountain. So this building here was the education building where my mom often took classes and where I spent quite a bit of time, although most of my time was at a daycare, which I think was called like Sunshine Daycare or something, and that's where I went to preschool, since we weren't allowed really to interrupt her classes, although sometimes some of her teachers would let us sit quietly in her class. It was here at this daycare center, this preschool, where I had some of my earliest memories, where I began to interact with other young kids around my age, boys and girls, where I began to realize that I was different, where I wasn't a normal girl, where I was a trans girl, although I didn't understand the word trans at that time. I don't even know if it existed at that time, but where I was often bullied by the boys and the girls, and even some of the student teachers, many of them probably being young LDS women, who tried to force me to act and behave like a boy, play with boys' toys instead of girls' toys, and play with boys instead of girls, where the boys often bullied me. The girls were a little bit nicer usually, but they also would begin to bully me when they realized that I was different. So anyways, it looks like it's under construction or renovation right now. And of course, here's the bell tower or the clock tower. I remember this as a little girl. So this was probably my favorite part of the college campus when I was a little girl. So here's the beautiful water fountain and this little pool, which I used to love coming here as a little girl with my mom, with my brother. It just looks so cool and refreshing, especially during warm summer days like this. And for some reason, I think these little stairs by the water used to remind me of the science fiction movie Logan's Run for some reason. So anyways, here's another view of the fountain. I used to really love coming here as a little girl. So anyways, today has been a nice sweet trip down memories lane. I hope you all enjoyed coming and taking this journey with me. Shalom. Peace. So anyways, I'm just trying to find a little bit of personal happiness, although most of my life I've been alone. Although I rarely ever feel lonely anymore because I've been alone for, gosh, like, 52 years, I've kind of learned not to feel lonely, but I've definitely been very alone for most of my life. And mostly, of course, because I was born with the handicap of being transgender, which I have no control over. I'm just trying to be happy, live as the female I believe that I should have been born as, if it weren't for just, the circumstances of fate and destiny. People can judge me, hate me, think that I'm some sort of pervert that needs to be murdered or whatever, but, like I said, I'm just trying to live my life, be happy,